Hey everyone. The tragedy of LL Cool J is one that few truly understand. A heartbreaking story of a man who gave the world his strength, his confidence, and his charm, all while quietly enduring pain that could have shattered anyone else. For decades, LL Cool J, born James Todd Smith, was the face of hip-hop's golden era. The first true rap superstar who made the genre accessible to the masses without ever losing his edge. From the moment he burst onto the scene as a teenager with radio in 1985, he embodied raw energy, swagger, and charisma that would define generations. But behind that muscular frame, megawatt smile, and fearless persona, there existed a lifetime of wounds, from a traumatic childhood marked by violence and loss, to the unbearable weight of fame that forced him to be strong even when his heart was breaking. His life, though paved with Grammys, platinum records, and Hollywood success, has been a journey through pain, redemption, and survival. One that reveals the cost of greatness and the loneliness that hides behind the spotlight. LL Cool J's tragedy isn't just about what he endured. It's about what he had to bury inside to keep the world from seeing how much he was hurting. Born in Bayshore, New York, in 1968, James Todd Smith's early years were marred by one of the most traumatic events imaginable. When he was just 4 years old, his father, in a fit of rage, shot his mother and grandfather before fleeing the scene. Though both survived, the emotional scars from that night would haunt LL for the rest of his life. As he grew up, the little boy who loved music and dreamed of stardom carried with him the image of blood, screaming, and chaos, memories that no child should ever have to live with. His mother's strength kept him alive, but the pain inside never truly left. Music became his escape, his therapy, his voice. When he found hip-hop, he found a way to turn his anger and heartbreak into something powerful. Rock the Bells, I Need Love, and Mama Said Knock You Out weren't just hits. They were battle cries of survival, coded messages from a boy still fighting the ghosts of his past. As LL Cool J's star rose in the 1980s and 1990s, he became one of the first rappers to cross into mainstream stardom. He was the first to make rap romantic, the first to prove that toughness and tenderness could coexist in one man. His charm made him a crossover icon. His physique made him a symbol of strength, and his confidence made him unstoppable. But what no one saw was the loneliness of that journey. The music industry, especially in its early days, was unforgiving, filled with jealousy, exploitation, and betrayal. LL faced racism, manipulation, and constant pressure to prove himself, not just as a rapper, but as a man who represented an entire movement. Behind every music video, every magazine cover, there was a man silently struggling to heal the wounds of his childhood while trying to be a role model to millions. As success grew, so did the emotional cost. Fame brought LL Cool J everything he thought he wanted: money, recognition, influence, but it also brought temptation, loss, and isolation. He has spoken openly about how the early years of fame nearly destroyed him. Surrounded by people who only saw the star, not the man, he fell into patterns of excess and emotional emptiness. "When you're on top," he once said, "everybody wants a piece of you, but nobody really knows you." His relationships suffered, and he admitted that his marriage nearly broke under the weight of his own mistakes. His wife Simone, who stood by him through infidelity, public scrutiny, and personal pain, became his anchor. But even then, the struggle never stopped. In 2004, when Simone was diagnosed with a rare bone cancer, LL was forced to confront a new kind of fear: the possibility of losing the person who had given him stability and love when he had none. Watching her fight for her life broke him in ways he had never experienced. "It changes you," he confessed. "You realize what really matters." But perhaps the most heartbreaking part of LL Cool J's life isn't what fame took from him. It's what it couldn't heal. Despite decades of success in music, television, and film, he has continued to wrestle with the invisible scars left by his childhood trauma. In interviews and his autobiography, he revealed that forgiveness was one of the hardest battles he ever faced. It took him years to forgive his father for what happened that night. And when he finally did, it wasn't out of peace, but necessity. "I had to let go," he said, "because the anger was killing me." He even helped care for his father before he passed away, a decision that left many stunned but spoke volumes about LL's heart. That act of compassion showed that even through all the pain, he still carried love. A love strong enough to break the generational curse of hate and violence that had nearly destroyed his family. It is also the tragedy of a man trapped between worlds, between the hard shell he built to survive and the tender soul he tried to protect. As a hip-hop pioneer, he was constantly forced to prove his masculinity in a culture that often punished vulnerability. While others could rage, curse, and fight, LL dared to love, to show softness, to rap about emotion, and for that, he was often mocked or underestimated. Yet that emotional honesty was what made him timeless. Still, the toll it took on him was immense. Being ahead of his time meant being misunderstood, and being a legend meant constantly living under the pressure of your own myth. "People see LL Cool J," he once said, "but they don't see Todd Smith." And Todd's been through hell even as his career evolved into acting, with long-running roles on NCIS Los Angeles and other Hollywood projects. The pain never fully faded. He became a symbol of stability and discipline, always smiling, always strong. But, in quieter moments, he has admitted that the smile sometimes hides the weight of all he's lost. He's lost friends to violence, colleagues to addiction, and pieces of himself to the never-ending grind of fame. What makes LL's story so heartbreaking is that he did everything right. He survived, he succeeded, he built a family, he gave back, and yet, the shadows of his past still linger. He often visits schools and speaks to young people about overcoming trauma, not because he's fully healed, but because he knows what it's like to fight every day just to feel whole. And yet, in his tragedy, lies the beauty of his resilience. LL Cool J's life is proof that even in pain, there can be purpose. His confession that he still has nights where the past comes back, where the little boy who heard gunshots still cries inside, is both devastating and inspiring. It reminds us that healing isn't about forgetting, it's about finding strength in survival. He's often said that music saved his life, and in many ways it continues to. Every verse he's ever written, every performance, every speech, it's all been a form of therapy, a way to turn trauma into triumph. Today, LL Cool J stands as one of the last remaining giants of hip-hop's original era, a man whose legacy stretches far beyond music. But beneath the fame, beneath the muscle, beneath the cool, there's still that little boy from Queens searching for peace. His tragedy is not one of failure, but of endurance. A man who's carried so much pain with such grace that the world mistook it for invincibility. When he smiles, it's a smile that hides tears. When he speaks, it's a voice forged in heartbreak. And when he performs, it's not just entertainment, it's survival. LL Cool J's life reminds us that heroes are often born from hurt, that strength is not the absence of pain, but the courage to keep going in spite of it. His story is not just about a legend of hip-hop, it's about a man who walked through fire, who loved fiercely, who forgave deeply, and who continues to rise, even with a heart forever marked by the tragedies of his past. Thanks for watching.